Hey YouTube, this is another fix for the XF. This is a bit more serious. In fact, this is a design flaw in the XF. What's happened on this particular car is that water has ingressed up and wicked through the cable which feeds the water windscreen washer mechanism, and it's come back into the vehicle. And what I'm showing you here is the documentation that Jaguar Land Rover have actually published, and I needed a new replacement part, which is the washer jet. So what I'm going to take you through now is some pictures of the junction box which is inside the vehicle itself. On a UK car it's on the driver's side, and it's behind a plastic panel where some fuses are. I'll now show you the process that I went through. Removed the CJB BCM module from the Jaguar XF, you can see that one of the pins has perished. To send this off would cost me about £250, but I'm going to try and do a fix which is a short-term fix, and this will be attaching a cable underneath to where the pin is connected. So I've got this cable here. I've managed to remove the cover off the unit. We're talking about this area on the board around here, and what I'll do is then try and solder on underneath that particular point to attach the cable, and then I will cut the offending connector, and I will then reattach with some spade connectors to make it work, so that I removed the error codes which I was getting earlier, which are all to do with the handbrake, dynamic traction control, and various other braking issues. The board looks to be conformally coated. It was a bit of a pig to get into. You can see these clips sort of here, and the way that I used was I wedged a screwdriver, and I'll show that in another shot where you can actually have a look at it. So I'm going to do the fix now. So I said I'll show you how this back connector comes to pieces, or the back cover comes to pieces. These are the clips. I had to wedge a screwdriver just to push them away because they spring this way. So you can see they spring like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the cable through one of these slits here, and hopefully I will be able to then put it all back together. I've checked continuity. I have continuity to that pin, so I'm comfortable that I've actually made a good enough connection. Putting it back in the car and we're testing it will be the proof in the pudding. But that is it, the back cover, and how you put it in is you just clip it on, and that pin at the top is where the high. So here I am now trying to remove the conformal coating with the warm tip of my soldering iron, and it's an absolute pig to get off. I think you can use some chemicals to remove it, but all I have is the isopropyl alcohol, and that didn't seem to do much. So now I'm just using the heat of the soldering iron. The idea here is to actually take the conformal coating off and then attach a cable. The other side of that is where the missing pin is, and that was in the bottom left hand corner of the connector. So I'm now offering up some leaded solder to see if that will actually adhere, and as you can probably see, it really isn't making any impact on the connector or adhering to the connector at all. So this is my first attempt to try and attach a cable onto the pin, and as you can see it adheres but falls immediately off, so there's still a lot more conformal coating on there, and I try in vain to try and get rid of that conformal coating and make a better solder connection, and eventually I do make a much better solder connection onto the pin, which I feel is sufficiently good enough to be used. And then I check on the other side of the connector in the socket to see if I've got continuity on each side. So you can see I'm just scraping away the conformal coating, resin-like material. Right, so that's attached. Conformal coating was the problem, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some tape on that. So as you can see, I've melted a few bits and pieces around there, but there we go. I'm just going to put a bit of IPA on there just to clean it up a bit. There we go. Conformal coating, goo is everywhere. So that is now an attached pin. Thank God. Nothing else is problematic. Can't see anything else. Just put some stuff away. Yep. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of tape on there just to protect it. Let's just give it a bit of strain relief. It's electrical tape, so it shouldn't harm it. And then what I can do is I can test on the other side of the multimeter to see if I've got continuity. So let me shut this down and go back to the... Right, so we're almost ready to go back into the car. I've checked that I have continuity between that pin and this connector, and I do. This is the interface cable that I'm going to put in place where the washer jet fluid has the ingress of water coming through it by capillary. I'm going to be using these spade connectors to make these connections. This is essentially a piece of wire which I have exposed the bottom end of it, and as you can see there, that is open. So the idea is that the water, if it does wick through, gets down to here, and instead of trying to climb back up here, will mean that it will drip out through here. In theory, obviously these spade connectors give it some form of barrier as well, so these are going to separate that connection. So I need to go back into the car. I need to make the connection with this and hopefully recover the issue that I have at the moment with the parking brake and the other warning messages that I got because of the broken pin. Assuming that all works out okay, then of course I'm going to do those cables as well. Bit nervous to do all of this, but there we go. I hope it will it'll fix my problem. But you can see very much a lost pin in the mix there. This is the connection that I'm working on at the moment. This is the pin that has come off at the back down here. That was the unit that broke off inside the CJB, and I'll be working on that. So I need to take this lead off and make a connection to this lead further deeper in the loom. As you can see, the loom itself is quite well strapped up, and I need to sort of unravel that a little bit to give me a little bit more space and length. Not a huge amount. I think it should probably be okay. This is another connection here. This looks to be brown and blue. This is not the cable that I need to worry about. A white and green cable is, or white and blue cable maybe? I'll have to look back on the reference guide. But I think, looking at this, that's the white and blue cable, and that is probably the one that is the washer. So this particular one comes from the bottom down here, so that one down there, and that was showing some corrosion. And you can see I've just stuck a pin in it to try and clean it out. I've got some deoxit
which again improves electrical connectivity, lubricates it and protects it. So I'm hoping that's going to be sufficient to just spray into that particular connector, and I'll rub it around a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll take you in and show you how all of this massive cables and how it works up underneath here, how that all goes back together. But what I did before is to remove the battery and leave it for 10-15 minutes. I hope that's long enough. I had both sets of keys in the car when I did that. I'm hoping that that will not cause me any problems, because this control unit is obviously kind of fussy. So going back to this connector, these clips you need to take off as well. This one has actually snapped because of me pushing it and trying to remove these particular connections. I used a paper clip, and if I just put this down here, the way that I did it was I pushed the paper clip in, and then eventually what would happen is that you would then release the clip mechanism, and then that would pop out. So that would just then pop out. I may try and do that again with this particular one, just so that I can get access to it, because I think that is the water jet one. But I want to deal with this one first, clean this one up. I want to cut this one and then make a splice connection point, because this is the one that controls the braking system, anti-lock brakes and all that kind of stuff. So I'll make that connection, make the join wire, so my little interceding wire that I've made for this particular fix is this one here, and that's going to go splicing at this point, and it will rejoin with that one. So that hopefully will then mean that that particular fault no longer occurs. Thickness of the wire is fairly similar to the thickness, because obviously that's carrying a relatively high current count. And then, as you recall, what I said underneath here is that, as you can see, there's a bit of bare metal, and that's how I did a loop, so that any water that's trying to travel up through here, I can't imagine it will because of these points, but if there is, it has a chance to drip away, and that's the idea. It's going to drip down there when I put it together. So that is the plan. So yeah, so let me just do the deoxid first. I want to just put a towel down so that I don't get it everywhere, and just spray some deoxin on this one. Pop him back in, sever the connection on the other one, do the solder setup that I need to do. So let's just spray you. We just hadn't done. So there's the deoxin inside it. Gonna again use the pin just to make sure that any of the rust or corrosion that could actually occur, and I'll put some more on it again once I put it back into the actual. I think that's fairly cleared out. You can never tell, but it's gripping it, which is key. Okay, let's put the pin away. I'm happy with that. Now to push these in, there's a little clip at the top there. Just going to push that one in. In theory, that's it locked. You can see it in place there, so that's quite good. Let me see if I can release this one. This did release out fairly easily yesterday, but I'm sure it's going to this time. So, see, that broke. That's what the other one did. Let's see if you're going to come out. There we go. We released it. So that's out. So what I can now do is sever that connection. I will just recheck to make sure that's okay. Again, if you just look at the... Yes, that's moving quite freely, as you can see there. probably less tight than compared to the other one. I think the other one has been squashed a little bit, but I'm hoping that once we've got everything back together, that will be okay, and we can push it through. But yeah, I think that's the one that I need to remove, and then this is the other side that I'm going to cut for connecting up the spade connector to. Right, so it's definitely the blue and white one. I've just checked with the manual that Jaguar Land Rover has for this particular fix. Give myself a little bit of space. I mean, there's a good couple of centimeters there, so I reckon if I cut the cable at that point, that should still give me a good amount to solder onto here. So let me use my tool. So that is the edge. Is a thick cable, so yeah, it's carrying quite a lot of current on it, and again the same for here. Right, so I'm going to go and solder that inside the house. That one, I will have it crimped, and then I can bring that in to my splice cable, join those up, and then we'll come back with the soldering iron. We will take this connection off as well. I'll work on this one first, so we have that one completed, then I'll work on that one, and that will be the unit in repaired state. Then we can put it all... Alright, so here's the repaired water connection. So I'm going to place it back into the socket, remembering that it goes into this one. Actually, I may just go spray it with a bit of deoxin as well while I've got it here. Okay, it's got some deoxin in it. Again, it's showing a little bit of tarnishing, but I'm hoping that that's going to be okay. So push you in. So that's now connected. Here's the new joining. Let's push this one back. Lock that in. Nice and firm. It's held. Push it over, and then push the receiver over this one, and there we go. So that's the connection that I was looking for essentially that. Now what I need to do is make a solder connection on this one, and equally I need to cut this one and make the spade connection. So I've got my two spade connectors that I need to offer up here. Now I just need to bring in my solder station, set it up, and then carry out that procedure. So I'm going to solder this one out first and attach its corresponding connection, and then we'll have that one finished and fixed up, and then we'll attempt to repair that one as well. Okay, soldering iron is now hot. Okay, that's tinned. So this time I've got to remember to put the little rubber cover. Do that a little bit better actually. That's good. Yep, so I need to put that little cover over the top first. A lot easier in the house to do this. I haven't got the actual crimping tools for it, but I've got a reasonable crimping tool here. That's captured it. And then just to get hold of definitely got that in place. Again, I'm just going to put a blob of solder on the end there. I hope that's got some solder on it. Can't really tell. Don't really want to touch it. Problem is, yeah, I think it's got some solder on it. Okay, so that's now encapsulated. So then we can offer up these connections again. That's now encapsulated, that one. Slide the cover over. Got that. And then this covers over the top of it. There we go. So that's my water repair. Now for the next one is I need to sever the cable here. Again, just going to take off a small amount, and I'm going to put this to one side, and then I'm going to keep that cable length relatively longish. So I cut it roughly here. Okay. I'm going to keep that pin to one side just in case I need to ever get that professionally fixed. And I'm going to put it in a little baggie. Oh, the baggie's got a hole in it. That's no good. I will put it in a baggie, but the baggie I've got has got a hole in it, so I will find another one. Again, just need to separate cable here. Making it a little bit longer this time because it's a narrower lead. Cleaning off the tip of the soldering iron. Okay, it's got a good amount of solder on it. Again, same setup. Put the little protective cover on first. Down. It's like that. And the tweezers again. Okay, that's held well. Connection there. And a good connection. We're going to print that one down hard now. Okay, print down hard, print down hard, and then again offer up some solder to see if I can get that just to tricky, these ones. See if I can get my little tool to hold it. Extendy arm tool. that's good. Should have done that on the earlier one. Okay, good. So that is now fixed as far as the brake socket is concerned, the brake circuits. Well, that's my hope anyway. Now what we need to do is tidy up this, put the CJB back in place. I'll show you what that looks like. I'll light it up a bit as well so you can also see that. And then we can go through the process of buttoning this all back up together again. And let's say with luck, having the car in an operating state. I think I've got a 50-50 chance that the car will complain. That joint is not great that I had to make underside of the CJB, but it makes electrical contact, so I'm hoping that that's going to be robust enough to allow the car to operate. But as you can see now, that's the setup. Okay, so now we've got the CJB device, or body control module, whichever one you like to call it, going in. Again, you can see I've cleaned up the socket as best I can. I will spray again that connector with a little bit more of that deoxit, which should help again stop any prevention, and then that loop that I've done should sort it out. So I'm just going to put the camera under here, try and tilt it up so you can see it. I'm going to put some extra light on as well. I may have to move it out of the way because, okay, I haven't got the light. Yep, I may have to move it out of the way so I can find everything I need to put in. Essentially, there is a couple of screws that need to go in and bolts, and without them, it doesn't hold it in place. So try and do this gently. Isn't the easiest of things to get out. I don't know if it's easier to go that way around. Spawn loom out the way. Should just slide in under here. I'll capture my cable too much. Okay. There is a bolt at the top there which needs to go into. Close to it. Yep. Check where my little fix is. There's my little fix. He's going to go there. That's captured up there. There's a bolt down the bottom under here as well. Just try and feed that one in. Always a lot easier to get out than to get in these things. Nope, haven't found it. Okay, let's get the top one in first. Shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, let's get the top one in first. Let me stop the recording. We're now installed. I've put the little screw at the top here in. We haven't got the main socket connected yet. That screw needs to be tightened up. I want to do the one at the bottom first. So hopefully we can do this one relatively easily. It's tricky to get enough purchase on it, but I'm hoping that I can. Okay, that's tight. And the same with the one at the top here. And like a lot of things in cars, do this where you can't see anything. That's tight. Feels it. Modules in place. You can see all of my attempts to fix this area over here. So there are my cables. The red cable junction is in place. I'm probably going to tape that one again to that as well, just so that it's held with some strain relief. My little drip watching me do is in play as well, so that's pointing down that way and out the way. So I'll put that so that it doesn't get involved. I just need to clip in the rest of the modules down here. So let's go for that one. Goes in here like so. Again. Smaller one goes in here. Next in here. We have a green and white one. Green one in here, white one in here. So all of them are now plugged in. All I need to do now is connect up that power connection cable. I'm going to get the other key, put that in the car. I've got my spare keys in the car, and therefore we can hopefully see everything set up correctly. But I'm just going to tape that little piece up now and give it a little bit more strain relief effectively by taping it. So full disclosure, I have tested the car and it appears to work, so that's good. Now what I need to do is put together all of the different types of panels. So this was the bit that was tricky for me to work out because I couldn't find this on YouTube anywhere. So I just want to show people the panels and how to fit them back together again, just so that people are aware of what it could and should look like. So there's this one that goes up in here, should I say this way around, and I've had this off in the past, so people have probably seen this one when I did the air vent. This one is slightly different, so it goes in this way around. So this is gripped onto by a little clamp in here. I'll show that in a second. And then there's a little clip here which goes into the well under here into the metal strip. So what I'll do is I will offer it up towards this way, and you can see what I'm trying to do here. Just slide it in. Probably easier if we look at it in a minute or two once I've actually figured out the alignment of it. But there you go, there's that piece, and then this one sort of goes up over the top. So if I show you that now, there is the piece. If I just shove it in and shove it in, that's going to go in here like so. One-handed, never going to work. Let's try this way. Thought it was an easy just push in. Looks like the clips slipped down, so let me try and push that up. There we go. Yeah, it's just slid down. So what I'm going to do, slide that in. There we go. There's a center point there, and on this one, literally just push it in, and then that's clipped in. I think that looks like it's broken there, but that doesn't matter too much. That goes over the top, so no one will ever see that. So let's just put the casing or the seal around the door. That's the seal around the door done. All in play. Of course, that's never going to go back in the same way that it did before that. I think that's okay. I mean, it's a little bit loose there, but I think it's holding. And then there's a guide pin here. Okay, I think maybe that was, yeah, let's just take that off. So I think that goes in first. That goes in first, yep. Push that in, button that up. And as they say, you might never know that was all. Can't quite see it, but if I fire the car up, I haven't got the air conditioning on. I don't appear to have any warning lights. I appear to have let me just turn the steering wheel, there we go. Might be easier. So, yep. So there's the brake. Now locked the car again. I've got the AC off, so none of the AC is running. I don't have any warning lights. I seem to have a call starting and ending all the time. I don't quite know why that is. Maybe there's still some issue somewhere. Bluetooth, no phone connected. I know that. Maybe it's just find something which it's not figuring out at the moment. So I hope. Yeah, radio's working. Obviously the electric windows. So they're now working.